Okay, so good afternoon. So let me start by thanking the organizers of this wonderful conference. I look forward to coming back every year for this conference, and it's only a mild exaggeration if I were to say that we keep looking for excuses to do work relevant to this conference so that we become eligible to come and present here. So it's a pleasure to be here. Uh, so the work that I want to present today is about this recent paper which we archived maybe 10 days ago. Less than 10 days ago. It's titled The Phase Transitions in a P-Spin Glass Model, a Numerical Study. So I should thank my collaborators, and Priya Gupta is a current PhD student. The bulk of the hard work, which I will be describing, came from him. Bharadwaj was a postdoc with us and also a PhD student earlier. And we have collaborators from Korea, and Professor Mike Moore. So Jun Hyun Yo from Korea and Mike Moore from Manchester. Okay, so the main message from this talk would be the following. So first of all, we perform large-scale Monte Carlo simulations on the so-called MP model, where M equal to 4 and P equal to 4 model, both the fully connected version and the diluted version. And we uncover the critical temperatures using finite size scaling of spin glass susceptibility. And so there is within the mean field limit, there's already a theory which our collaborators, John Hunyo and Mike Moore, they already had a paper where they have some theoretical predictions which we are able to verify. Then there are other theoretical predictions which have been made at the mean field level, namely that these transitions should be of one RSB character. But actually our results that I will show you, there is not enough evidence to show this, and so we'll try to argue that maybe the finite size effects are in play. And then I'll also show that for a particular value of the sigma, 0.85, which corresponds to 3D like models, realistic nearest neighbor models, we find that maybe there is no transition at all. So I've said a bunch of technical stuff, but I will hopefully be able to unpack all of this in the coming 5 minutes or so. So the key results are highlighted here. So we'll start with what spin glasses are. Yeah, spin glasses are magnetic systems which where there's disorder, and disorder leads to frustration, and the combination of disorder and frustration give you a very rich, rugged, sort of free energy landscape with lots of metastable minima, and it has been the work of several decades of work have come out of this field, and Nobel Prizes, at least one Nobel Prize, and maybe all the work on machine learning probably has their foundations related to spin glasses. So a lot of important contributions have come from this field. Ultimately, it's disorder and frustration which leads to this rugged landscape, yielding large number of metastable minima. And so the standard approach which one uses is the so-called replica method, where you consider several copies of your system with the same kind of quenched disorder, and then you are interested in computing this disorder average of logarithm of the partition function. And so this is in general a hard problem, but within the mean field level, it is possible to compute this average by using this replica trick, which basically says that you rewrite this log z as consider it as a limit of z to the n minus 1 over n, and then you do this kind of kind of a wild trick where you do an analytic continuation and tend n to 0, and then you are able to extract things which turn out to be justifiable by other methods and so on. Right? So this is the replica method, and so Parisi in his celebrated work showed that for infinite range or mean field spin glasses, there is this thing called the replica symmetry breaking, which holds. And so which has this complicated distribution of this order parameter P of Q, which shows up, and as opposed to a replica symmetric solution where these overlap order parameter tends to be a common value in the high temperature in the paramagnetic phase. So, but there is also another way in which this replica symmetry can break, and that is what is called as one RSB, where you can get a first order or a discontinuous transition. And so that is what we want to talk about here. And so, yeah, so some of the broad features, right, which show up in these kinds of cases. If you have replica symmetry, then your P of Q will be just one broad peak, which will show up in finite size simulations, but ultimately it corresponds to one delta peak. But if you have one RSB, then it would correspond to some situation like this, where you will have two different peaks corresponding to two different values of Q0 and Q1. But the key important thing is that the support in between these two peaks should, in the limit of large system sizes, should go down to 0. Whereas if you have a situation where even in the thermodynamic limit, you have a whole continuous part between these two peaks, then that would correspond to full replica symmetry breaking. And so the models that we want to study are these, very clever models which go back to Kotler, Anderson, and Stein, who themselves were inspired by Dyson, where you look at a model where interactions fall off with distance as a power law. And so the advantage with a model like this is you can tune this parameter sigma and access dimensions higher than one dimension, although you're studying a one-dimensional model. And further, cleverness was brought in maybe in the last decade or two, when people said that let's look at a proxy of this proxy model itself, where you kind of consider diluted interactions, so that the computational cost goes down. So where you say that, so the probability that there is a bond between some site I and site J itself will fall as a power law. And when there is a bond, then it has a certain magnitude which can be fixed. Right? So there is some close correspondence between these two. And so we look at both of these variants. And so it's also been established that there is a kind of a mapping between this sigma and the effective dimension that you're probing using this formula. And then it so happens that if you choose sigma equal to 0.85, then that corresponds to 3D nearest neighbor models which are of interest. Right, so but for the most part of this work, we are actually sticking to sigma less than half, which lies in the non-extensive region. Between half and 2/3 is the so-called mean field region. And the SK model, or the infinite range model, sits here right at sigma equal to 0. And the specific model that we want to study here is this so-called M equal to 4, P equal to 4 model. Okay, so this is, so maybe I should just very quickly flash the result. So anyway, this is a model where you have 4 spins here and 4 spins in the ith side and jth side, and they interact with this complicated manner. And so there is this thing called the lambda parameter, which tells you that if it is greater than 1, it corresponds to 1 RSB, less than 1 to continuous. And so the key findings are kind of a repeat of the findings that I told you earlier with some details. And so there is this nice, interesting test that you can do to ensure that your system is equilibrated. So we do this equilibration test, and then we bring in the spin glass susceptibility, which is the quantity to study. And so there is a theory about how they should scale with system size. And when you do these kinds of simulations, you find the transition temperature, and then you can do the finite size scaling analysis and extrapolate to so the thermodynamic limit. And so we find that the TCs that are extracted from both the finite, the fully connected model and the diluted model, they both agree with theoretical results. Like here, these are all in good agreement. And what is not in good agreement is the spin overlap. So which is expected for these models, that this support should actually go down. But we find that it is not going down to 0, which means that actually it seems to suggest for the system size that we are able to reach, there is actually full RSB. So that's also true for the diluted model. And then and another very interesting finding from our work is that when you go to the 3D proxy, you find that actually not only is there no replica FRSB or anything, in fact, there is no transition at all. So which seems to indicate that the Kaufman temperature, which people study in structural gases, it might actually be 0. And so there is this lambda parameter, which is some details which you can find in the paper. Summary and conclusions. Thank you.
We can take a couple of questions, if any. If not, let's thank the speaker.
Thank you.